Behind me here is what's commonly known as a proper little cruising ship. This is the Outer Reef Azure 640. It's a semi-displacement hull design and it's built to go places. It's got two 500 horsepower John Deere engines. It cruises along using about a gallon a mile at most. You've got a huge fuel tank of almost 4,000 litres. It'll give you a range of 1,500 miles at 7 knots or 1,000 miles at 10 knots. And it is built to tackle pretty much any kind of sea you can imagine. This is a Category A cruising ship, and if we go and take a look on board, you'll see what that means. So this is the absolute heart of the Outer Reef Azure 640. This is the crew space and access to the engine room. So a couple of bunks over on the port side, lots of storage, a little private heads compartment for the crew, still all that nice woodwork, and then through the watertight door into the engine room itself. And this is the business end of this boat. We've got twin John Deere 500s, or you can change them for Caterpillar C9s. But what's most impressive here is the redundancy that's built into a yacht like this. So each engine has a pair of Raycor filters with nice clear bowls, a switchover valve so that if one gets dirty you can immediately switch over to the other without having to clean it first. You've got generators, a pair of them, one each side. Again, redundancy. The whole ship can run on one or the other if required. The track hydraulic stabilizers can also run off any of the PTOs, so if one engine goes down it can be switched to the other. This is a yacht that's really built to go cruising, and the way the whole thing has been designed and laid out, it's all beautifully labelled, all the pipe work, all the valves. You just know that this is the kind of boat you'd want to be on in any kind of serious sea. The cockpit is a really nice sheltered space. That Flybridge extension goes all the way back to the transom so that the outdoor dining table is really nicely shaded. And then the doors open up into the saloon and the window disappears so that it feels like you're really nicely connected. And then look at the size of these side decks. Really deep bulwarks on both sides. You can easily walk without having to shuffle at all. There's plenty of space. It just feels really safe and secure. And then one of the other nice features is the Portuguese bridge. So you can walk right around the boat without having to stumble across slippery foredecks. And then this rather nice bow cockpit area. Again, look at the size of the mooring gear here. All hydraulically powered, so there's no danger of any electric motors burning out, twin anchors. And rather a nice little bench seat up front, so you can sit out underway. And again, because this is the kind of boat that you're likely only to be cruising along at 9-10 knots, it's going to be a really comfortable boat underway. And those decks run all the way round, back down to the cockpit, and there is a door leading into the helm too. One of the key points of the Azure 640 was to make it more acceptable to European tastes. And so rather than the central galley, they've built an aft galley version. And the sheer size of this is really something to behold. The owner of this particular boat is quite a keen cook himself and a big entertainer, so he wanted to make sure that he had plenty of space to work in. And look at the actual work surfaces here. It's not just the space available, it's the fact that it's all so beautifully clean and easy to use, And of course, you've got those big windows either side letting in masses of natural light and giving great views out. Then there's a couple of small steps up to the dining area, which again, hugely spacious. That slight extra elevation gives you even better views. And look at the quality of the woodwork here. Really spectacular finish on that. Beautifully grained wood. Absolutely mirror smooth finish. And then a nice little bench seat over on this side. And unlike a lot of boats these days, it's got an internal access up to the Flybridge. There's that door leading out onto the side decks, easy access for the skipper, and the bridge itself, which is now open plan to the rest of the boat, so that you've got fantastic 360-degree views, but you've still got that proper huge ship's wheel and a lovely little navigation seat alongside, so that a couple of people can enjoy the ride looking forward underway. There's another door out onto the port side deck, and then the companionway down to the guest area. But first, let's take a look up at the Flybridge itself. Nice, gentle incline, so very easy to walk up. And then the Flybridge area. Fantastic view from up here. Again, a central helm location, dominant view forward, another proper STID navigator's seat on the port side, and then this is a rather nice new feature. It's like another little mini Portuguese bridge up on the Flybridge. So there's a little seat there, you can sit and enjoy the view underway. It's set a little bit lower so you're not in the way of the helmsman behind you, but again, a perfect spot to enjoy the view en route. And moving back along the Flybridge, there's a nice little seating area on the port side, another little corner seat over to starboard, and then what has to be one of the largest open deck spaces on any Flybridge you'll find at this kind of 64, 65 foot size. Just look at that deck space. Of course, you can have freestanding furniture out here. If you want to store a tender, there is a large crane over on the port side and enough space to store a really sizable tender up there. But it just makes it a more flexible space, whether you want to use it for entertaining or storing the tenders and toys. And look at the size of that barbecue. Again, it's proper American style cruising. All the comforts at home on board with you. Now let's take a look down at the accommodation deck. Nice gentle curving companionway leads down, and let's go and take a look forward first. There's a shared day heads and ensuite to the VIP forward cabin. Now for a 65-foot boat, this is a little bit narrower than some, but the advantage of that is it means you've got a nice narrow beam, so into a head sea it rides very, very comfortably rather than bashing and slamming its way through the waves. It just cuts through very nicely. It will do up to 14, 15 knots, but to be honest, it's really built for cruising at sort of 9, 10 knots, and making the most of that fuel consumption and refinement. Here is the guest cabin. It's a good sized twin. Nice natural light coming through those two portholes. There is a separate space in there for your washer and dryer. Nice and quiet, keeps it outside the actual cabins themselves. And then pièce de résistance, the owner's cabin amidships, full beam, all decked out with this lovely woodwork. 3 very secure portholes either side. You'll notice that they're quite high in the boat. That's partly to leave space for masses of storage in these almost full height chest of drawers either side, but also to retain that Category A rating, they need to be absolutely confident the windows are 100% secure. Big raised bed, plenty of storage under it. And then look at this for a treat. This is a walk-in wardrobe, all fully lined in cedar. Make sure there's no danger of any moths in there. There's a lovely fresh cedary aroma. And then over on the other side there is the ensuite heads compartment. Again, all decked out, real stone, real wood. There's no real need to save weight, so they just fit absolutely the best quality of everything. And because they're all custom built, you can pretty much change any aspect of the boat other than the hull itself. But let's not forget that this is first and foremost a cruising boat. So where some manufacturers would give over all the space to accommodation, there is this fantastic little technical space with access from the owner's suite, where all the pipework and cabling comes down. So if there is ever any problem with anything at all, the air conditioning, whatever, you can get access to it, sort things out without having to pull the boat apart before you can even find out where the problem is. It's just another touch that makes an Outer Reef and such a good seaworthy cruising boat. You've probably got the message by now, but this is another example. Just this little corridor leading back to the master cabin. Every single floor panel you can lift up, get access right down to the bilges, get some idea of just how clean they are and how solidly built the hull is. But everywhere you look, there's another little latch that you can lift up, another access point. Again, even in the twin guest cabin, all cedar lined, all lit, ventilated. These are the touches that really make a boat like this. So there you have it, a whistle-stop tour of the Outer Reef Azure 640. As you see it here today, it's a boat that cost 2.2 million euros ex-taxes, but you can see where that money has gone. It's a boat that is capable of crossing oceans, and more to the point, it's a boat that you are going to be comfortable crossing oceans in.